All right, Dave gave you his version of the 5 twins he thinks are most likely to be on the move this offseason. Now it's my turn. So, this is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello again and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brendan Warren, and you can unfollow me on the tweets at Brendan_WARNE. And if you're on Blue Sky, which seems to be a big transition period for one site to the other, you can find me by searching my last name. So check that out. I've been watching the Twins for 30 years, covering them for about half that long. And I'm pleased to bring you this episode with Mr. Dave Brown. Lay down your credentials, Mr. Dave.
I was looking for my Blue Sky. I'm also answering Dave on Blue Sky. So
hey.
I haven't left Tweezer yet. Some people call it X. But yeah, what am I? Well, I'm a baseball reporter. Have been since 1998 as a professional in some form or another. Actually, go back to like 95. It's when I started in junior college. Mm-hmm. So that was like my first. I didn't do the newspaper in high school, but I did in junior college. So I'm a proud, not a graduate, I don't know what you'd call that, of Oakton Community College. The rumor was that Eddie Vedder went there. And I had a chance to ask Eddie Vedder that as a reporter once in Cincinnati, and I chickened out and I didn't do it. So what kind of reporter am I? Not that good, apparently. But I also vote for the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I've just been told that I'll be getting a ballot soon. So, send me your cash and I'll get your candidate in. I'm kidding, of course.
Wow.
But you could send me your cash.
Yeah, that'd be fine too. Take that up with Dave offline, though. By the way, today's episode is...
That was a joke, by the way, if they're out there.
Of course. By the way, episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win said $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Today, or at least in this episode, we are going to be discussing my 5 most likely Twins to be traded. And be traded almost sounds like you're saying betrayed and then betrayed again, like you're betrayed. Like something a 3-year-old would say, you betrayed me.
Oh, yeah. I was just, my wife and I were going over some of the funny things that my daughter has said through the years that is sort of like that. And it's always, we should be writing them all down, not only just for the podcast, but for posterity's sake.
Yeah. We have, my wife has a client who says, give me some Harper Happies. And it's when Harper would say things like rainbow chips. You know what she called rainbow chips?
What are those?
The puffy Cheetos, because they're shaped like a rainbow.
Oh, I get it.
Right. Yeah. I totally would have been just beyond my purview. So kids are brilliant. And if you have some, it's obviously a great blessing, but man alive, I got one home sick today. So I'm pulling double duty here, but we will be talking in this edition of Locked On Twins about the 5 players I think are most likely to be dealt. Dave, your list of 5 included Luke Keeschel.
Yeah.
And there was Trevor Larnach.
Yeah.
And Jose Miranda. And Joan Duran. And then there was a 5th one who is Royce Lewis. Yeah. So you had a list of 5 that now we didn't explicitly discuss this, that there would be no overlap, but there is only one player of overlap. And I mean, maybe we can get that player out of the way first if you wish.
Sure. Who's out of here? Oh yeah, you could tell. I could tell you took a shining to my getting Duran on the trade block, even though I like him and I like his wife's on social media too. And if you're out there, hi.
Yeah, no, we love. I think it's Aida Duran. Don't mess with her. Don't message her. Just respect her like the queen that she is. But yeah, it's not that I want to see him traded. My wife has some friends who are actually friendly with them and lovely family. There's no personal gripe here. It's just that it's from the Derek Falvey playbook to trade your reliever as they're getting expensive before they get to a point where they blow out. And And if it wasn't already kind of like, yeah, that makes sense right now, then you put into the fact that they're less likely to be making moves in free agency. And so they're going to need to free up. This will be less about money as it is a player to get back the type of talent you'd have to spend a lot of money in free agency. So like, I understand that that's maybe a weird equation to try to explain, but in the absence of the Twins going out and signing, say, Paul Goldschmidt, they might try to get a $15 to $18 million a year caliber player by trading Juan Duran, who will make less than that, but is underpaid based on how baseball salaries work. Probably is going to be someone that a lot of teams would be interested in as far as like playoff teams, Yankees especially. If the Yankees were to come calling for Juan Duran, I don't know what you could get, but that's the kind of team where I'm like, all right, show me what you got.
For sure. Well, Derek Falvey is going to have to do some interesting tap dancing this offseason to kind of make this work. If he wants to reset a couple things, if he wants to put the team in position. This is assuming, we're talking about a team that probably should still want to contend, even though they finished in fourth place, even though they finished barely over 500. The AL Central, we all love it. Big hugs to the AL Central, but it's still a winnable division in 2025. And if you want a winnable, you got a tradable sometimes, especially when you're in a funky financial spot like the Twins always seem to be, and maybe are particularly at the moment right now with the limbo status of ownership, with the let's just call it less cash on hand thanks to the FanDuel Bally business, whatever it is.
The Cardinals signed a new deal with them?
Did they really?
Was it the Cardinals? There was the team that did. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. I'll thumb through my my beat reporter list because
it wasn't Miami, was it? I know they were thinking about sticking around.
The reason I think is because I think it was Derek Gould who was reporting it. I keep a list on me on the tweets for MLB beat reporters so that I can get less likely to be duped when fake news starts rolling in. But
Olin Gonzalez says 2 hours ago, Diamond Sports Group, operator of what previously was called Bally Sports, is now FanDuel Sports, has reached a new linear and digital rights agreement with the Cardinals, who will maintain them as an RSN. The Braves and Marlins are also on board.
But then it said something to the effect of straight to consumer or something, and I was like, wait a second, did the Twins miss the boat here if now that's what is going to happen with this FanDuel Sports? And again, not that the Twins would have had the option. I think that they were on the outs, and I think FanDuel/Bally decided that for them. But if I'm looking at this right, I mean, maybe they just preferred the Cardinals as a test subject for
the Cardinals are. I mean, that's still a team that is. They attract a lot of people. They attract a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah,
they're that's a legacy. That's a legacy franchise right there. So, and the Braves are hot now, and Miami, who knows? But
like
I don't know. I am fine with the Twins. This is off subject, Brandon, but I'm fine with the Twins stepping away from Bally Sports, FanDuel, whatever you want to call it, at this point, and doing their own thing. I don't know that there's like a wrong decision here because we are still in the infantile stages, and I use that word specifically, of what teams are going to do for a future paycheck as far as revenue from local. I think it's okay to try out a new thing. It's okay. Hopefully, we've talked about this before, but hopefully like Audra Martin will still be part of the team, and there are consequences for all that. But generally speaking, I think it's just fine that the Twins are not in bed with these people anymore. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, back to Duran, though. If the Yankees were to come calling, I'm trying to think of something that would make sense. Like, if the Yankees think they're bringing back Soto and they have Judge, do you think?
I think it depends on like it'll be a starting pitcher. I think it might be someone like that. Clark Schmidt. Yes.
What if they got real funky and did Jason Dominguez, or is that too high pie in the sky?
I don't know. I mean,
I do think Nestor Cortez is going to be a Twin. So maybe you could do Nestor Cortez.
And they do that. The Yankees would do that. I don't know if the Twins are better off.
Would not. No, but I mean, I've been seeing Nestor Cortez is going to be a Twin for about a few weeks now, basically since he blew up in the playoffs, which try to figure out that version.
I don't like that linkage very much.
Syndrome right there. But yeah, I could see something like Duran for what if it was like Clark Schmidt Nestor Cortez and Ben Rice or something. I'm trying to think of who else. They're not trading a lot of guys who are, you're not getting a Dominguez, you're not getting a Volpe, you're not getting a the name of their catcher that they really like. His name is
Austin. Also named Austin. Is it not Austin Wells? I'd love
Yeah.
to get Austin Wells. That'd be cool.
That's not happening. But
he probably isn't.
I think, and maybe you could trade with the Yankees some of these other guys that I am going to list in our second segment because there are some options here. But we got.
And speaking of the Cardinals too, there's been talk that not the Cardinals. I'm thinking of somebody else. Who's Ryan Presley is on the block. Former Twins closer. I think he's going to make $14 million, but he's got a no trade clause. So the Astros are.
That contract is pretty dicey.
They would have to pay some of that off, I think, based on how he finished the season. Yes, but that's another guy. That's a guy who, if we can't get Duran because the Twins are asking too much, maybe we can work out a financial thing and make Presley. It would be that kind of thing. So
yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's take our first break, and then when we come back, we'll probably hit up a couple of infielders. How does that sound? We'll do infielders.
I'd love to hit up an infielder.
There you go. Well, you can get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. It's mid-season, literal mid-season right now, and you can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins at FanDuel. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Or the FanDuel app is another place you got to check out because, again, so many different options for you there. And you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Dave, I have a buy low infield opportunity, and I think that it's a sell high for the Twins, but I think how they're going to sell to other teams is that, hey, you want Edouard Julien, right?
I knew that's who this was.
Right? Yes. Edouard Julien, if he's going to rule again, is probably going to have to do it elsewhere. And I understand that it's selling low, but at the same time, you can sell. He's been good before. You can sell. He's got years of control, and that he's still young.
He speaks 2 languages.
Yeah, so I guess that would maybe you could get a Bo Bichette for him if you want to send him up to. No, they don't speak. Bo Bichette's unequivocally not going to be traded, which is usually a good sign for a guy being traded if someone says it. Don't believe anything the Blue Jays say. Definitely not. Right. So with Julien, it's not so much that I've soured on him as an overall talent. It's just the clearer the picture gets as we move into the future, there's just not a fit for him defensively. And it may not be with necessarily the Twins. I'm just not sure there's a defensive fit for him on the baseball field. If he's a first baseman, I okay. But I don't want to be the team that puts him there and has to deal with it. So if you can get something reasonable, I think I would do it.
I don't know if he's enough of an offensive force to be a first baseman either. He doesn't strike me as that somebody that you want playing at first. But I think he's still, while his defense kind of tanked toward the end of the season, we did see some improvement in the beginning. I think if he keeps working on it, it's something where he can be passable there in time. But that also appears to be Brooks Lee's best position, second base. Brooks Lee has not shown that he is a consistent hitter yet. But I still like, and Brooks's numbers last year were not great, offensively speaking. I still, looking at late in the season, he got some big hits. I know you're not supposed to do that when you're evaluating hitters, because what does big hit mean? Is it a repeatable skill? Blah, blah, blah. I got a good feeling about Brooks Lee still. I don't know. They'd be selling really low on Edouard. I don't know. You'd get somebody else's Edouard, a prospect that didn't. It would be a deal like that. Some other team's guy that didn't, work out in the first swing at things, or the second thing.
Let's circle back to the Yankees, who Gleyber Torres is a free agent. If they thought they could play him at second base and you could get Nestor Cortez, who only has 1 year of club control, is that an option for you?
Where's Jax playing next year? Isn't he not Jax, but
Chisholm?
Chisholm.
I kind of think he's going to play second, and they're going to trade for Nolan Arenado. But if they're trying to maybe, I think the money that they would end up paying Arenado is, oh shoot, we missed out on Juan Soto. Let's put some money into reinventing the Cardinals corner infield here. We'll get Goldschmidt, we'll get Arenado. I could see that happening. But with that said, if you could get Nestor for Julian, I think I would. I also wouldn't mind calling up the Marlins. I don't know that they would want to deal with the Twins again, but they have taken guys from the Twins who may or may not be equipped to play second base anymore or ever. And they still have some interesting young pitchers. They did, I saw, get rid of all the big. Sixto Sanchez is a free agent, so I would be interested in bringing him in as a minor league guy or whatever. But if there was a guy there that you still like that they would trade you for Julian, I think that would be an option too. Again, they've seemed content to punt second base defense for a while now, and he's young, he's cheap.
Was Bendix in play for the Nick Gordon deal? Was he the guy that made that deal? That wasn't Kim Ng, was it?
I think so. No, I think it was Bendix before this last year, and then it was Kim Ng. Is it Ng?
Kim Ng
was the deal with Arise and Lopez and Sal as
So you've got a relationship there. You've got a history of making a deal,
right?
You've got that they've scouted the Marlins well because they've had interest in. They've made trades and they've had interest in other players before that for whatever reason the deals haven't gone through. So that's probably a club that they know well. They have a relationship with. I think that would be, although the Marlins, who's the second baseman that came up for them last year and was pretty good? Not Xavier Worthy. He's on the
Xavier Edwards.
Yes. So I don't know if he's
a Rays prospect.
So
well,
I don't know if Edward fits there.
If he plays short, I don't know.
Okay.
Because I don't know who's playing short for. I don't remember who's playing short for the Marlins right now.
Maybe they won't have one. I know it won't be Miguel Rojas because he re-signed with the Dodgers, so he's not going back there.
Good for him. Yeah. So I don't know. Again, this is all just thinking out loud. But if they were to trade Julien to get Cortez, who they could then in turn maybe in the future sign to an extension. He's got 1 year of club control left, but he's coming. His stock has got to be a little bit down, at least with the Yankees. Sure. I don't know about league wide necessarily, but that seems like the kind of guy this Twins front office would target. You know what? Let's do Chris Paddack next. We'll do my last two in the next segment because I think we can get through Paddack pretty quickly, but going to be a free agent at the end of the year. If they don't trust him to start, what are you doing really? But I just think if they're going to be trimming quote unquote fat, not that there's much on this payroll, their payroll is reasonably well accounted for. The accounting of it is not that bad. Paddack is one of the highest paid players going into next year and is not likely to be one of their best players. So it's an inefficiency from that standpoint.
Well, I don't know if we rule him out for the bullpen or not. It's
I don't either, but at least the value of his contract would be like, well, that's not efficient either.
No, I could see. It's they can't non-tender him anymore, right? That's not a thing that you can do.
Correct? Right, he's under contract.
So I guess you just got to ride him out to see if you can squeeze a fifth starter out of him. kind of
And
season.
I think that too. I also think though, just based on their self-imposed or whatever you want to call it, financial issues, that it might seem easy to just, if you're peeling off dollar bills, that's a big one that you can just.
Again, there are players like this who are, we talk about where they could trade Edouard Julien. There's always a team that has a prospect that struggled for whatever reason that might change, benefit from a change of scenery. And there's players like Paddock on in other rotations / bullpens around the league where you could probably find a matchup there, a trade partner where you get somebody's uncertainty for another uncertainty. So the Twins are full of depth as far as fourth and fifth starters go. That sounds like a backhanded compliment, and it sort of is. But you got Zebby, you got Festa, you got Simeon Woods Richardson. They got guys at the back of the rotation.
Right.
Paddock doesn't necessarily help them in any. He doesn't move the needle anywhere right now. So I think he's a good person for your list.
Yeah, and I mean, if you find, I'm trying to think, somebody recently posted a list of the 10 hardest average exit velocities this last year, and Jesus Sanchez from the Marlins was on there. And again, I'm not thinking he's going to need to be traded or anything, but again, if you were to look for someone you could turn into a better version of themselves, you could do worse than finding a guy who hits the ball hard or plays on a bad team that's not known for development for hitters, that sort of thing. Paddock, I think, was originally a Marlin, wasn't he? I think. Did he do the Trevor Hoffman? The Trevor Hoffman. Why is that resonating with me? I thought he got traded from the. I might be totally wrong. Nope, drafted by the Marlins in 2015, and traded in the for Fernando Rodney, Twins alumni, former Twin alum Fernando Rodney. So I thought that, but anyway, that's a long time ago. I don't know, but I do think that Paddock makes sense to move on from. Why don't we do this? Let's dip. Let's do our last couple of ads, and then when we come back, we will roll through the last two players on my top 5 list of Twins most likely to be traded. All right, fellas, sometimes the intimate moments in the bedroom can happen spontaneously, and we always want to be ready so we can perform. Hims provides access to treatments that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you self-confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. I deliberately did not look at you reading this ad last time, Dave. It was very, very vital to me.
I'm being quiet.
Okay. Hims is changing men's health care by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Or bed, I guess. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for those uncomfortable doctor visits. And you just got to answer a series of questions on their site. A medical provider will help you pick which one is best for you. And if they prescribe, you will get it shipped directly and discreetly to you for free. You don't need to use insurance, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's hims.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable, compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies, easy for me to say, based on product and subscription plan. And now for something you'll really like, Arena Club. This is a lot easier to talk about sports cards than other things. But if you like collecting sports cards like I do, and you don't want to spend crazy money on a rookie card like an Ellie De La Cruz or a Luka Doncic or anything. And as you can see, I'm showing this screen here. I've got a Mark McGuire card, a bin of them. I've been actually putting my collection online digitally. So if you want to find out more about that, get me up on the socials. But without wanting to drop crazy amounts of money, Arena Club is the way to go. You get slab packs on arenaclub.com, making it possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that I listed of those Luka and Ellie and Patrick Mahomes was a hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Their slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or auction. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, fast, and transparent, with a full grade rationale provided, an explanation of how your card was scored. So whether you're buying, selling, trading, or just displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you've got to check out right now. You can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb and using the code lockedonmlb. That's arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb, code lockedonmlb, and you'll get 10%, not 100%. Don't want to write a check I can't cash. 10% off your first purchase. All right, Dave, we are back. And the last two I'm going to start with the less enticing option, Christian Vasquez. Not because I think it makes sense for them to trade Christian Vasquez, but you see someone like Austin Hedges getting, I think it was $4 million from the Guardians. And what differentiates those two? I mean, it's probably not a fair comparison because Austin Hedges has never hit even what Vasquez does in his like 65th, 70th percentile season. But with that said, there will be a marketplace for Christian Vasquez, and you probably will get back at least a semi-interesting B- prospect if that is something you want. And then if in turn you're going to use those savings on something in free agency, the dots kind of connect there.
Well, his second half was much better than his first. 261, 295, 374. That's presentable for a backup catcher. Plus, good defense. Really good defense behind the plate. Right. I don't know if he's as good of a framer as Austin Hedges, but he's valuable in that way. And I think, as we've discussed before, if you are going to trade Christian Vasquez, you better make sure that Borg Schulte and whoever the catching coordinator is going to be is making Ryan Jeffers a better version of himself. Because Jeffers really struggled last year, all year defensively, and from time to time struggled a lot with the bat too. So I'd want to make sure that Jeffers was right before I traded Vasquez. But this is your list.
90 weighted runs created plus for Vasquez in the second half. Let's scope out MLB Trade Rumors free agent catcher list, because you also might end up scouring that list for your backup catcher, whether it's, I'm just reading off the list here, Tucker Barnhart, Kurt Casale, Elias Diaz, Yan Gomes. I mean, Yan Gomes makes so much sense as a former Guardians catcher. Yasmani Grandal, I think he showed he had some left last year. I'm not positive about that. Alex Jackson, Kyle Higashioka, Carson Kelly, Jacob Stallings is a good defensive catcher if he's, going in the direction you want him to. Reese McGuire can be kind of a jerk, but he's no, I'm kidding. There are a lot of options on this list, but James
moved on from that ad.
Yeah, right. He is hims, just like saying someone is him. There's a lot of options for backup catchers that could fill.
There are. That is a good point. There's a lot of guys on that list I don't mind.
Yan Gomes.
I love Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly's good people.
Yeah, but Yan Gomes stands out to me because of the Guardians factor.
Yeah, Jan Gomes, he might be cooked. He might be cooked like some Portuguese food. I don't know.
Yeah, but so too might Christian Vasquez.
I mean, that's true, but we already got Jan Gomes at home.
Yes, buddy. Yeah, but if you get him for $3 million, $2.5 million, and turn around and spend
yes,
that money,
Mr. Moneyball. Yeah, I understand that part, but there's also the rapport that Vasquez has and a value for the pitching staff in that way. I think
no
that's
question.
why.
I think that's been ruined by Joe Polad's self-imposed budget bleepery.
I can't believe they didn't find all the money in the home plate that they dug up the other day either at Target Field.
It's like the MLB version of the banana stand.
There's always money under home plate at Target Field. Then they looked and there wasn't any. It was it was a real bummer.
Yes,
in May, absolutely not. In September, it looked like Yasmani's a guy who was he was put on a list at one time.
Yeah,
for certain things, and you wonder. He finished the season really well, both sides of the ball. So
positive defensive run value on Fangraphs. So that to me. And by the way, we're in no way going to hit our 32-minute mark, so we're just going to keep trucking along here. Yes. Well, because the last guy that I have, we're going to talk about for a while too. I could go with Yaz for $3.5, $4 million. You do have a built-in insurance policy in Jair Camargo, who's at least MLB adjacent. Don't know how they feel about him, but they feel well enough about him to have him on the 40. And you can always make a trade for a Sandy Leon type, see what Chris Jimenez is up to. But I don't know that you need two starting caliber catchers if you're going to place these bogus budget restraints upon yourself. If you could keep Christian Vasquez and still go out and sign. This budget stuff has tinged my process so much. I have not even spent that much time looking at free agents because I just automatically assume the Twins are going to say they can't afford them. You know what I mean? Like Luis Severino would make some sense to me, but why would I believe the Twins are going to sign him?
I run into that too. Yes.
You look at the top 40 that was released by The Athletic. And like Andrew Heaney's on there, and the Twins aren't even listed as a fit. And I'm thinking Andrew Heaney, that's the guy I would probably bet money on. Lefty, we can fix him. That's their kind of guy. And instead, you're looking at Spencer Turnbull on one of the other lists, and you're looking. And I like Spencer Turnbull well enough. I liked him with Detroit, but you're looking at a whole different caliber of target. You can't even wrap your brain around the Twins might spend $10 million on anybody. Matthew Boyd is on the list on The Athletic. Like, I don't hate that. But again, like, I'm not trading Christian Vasquez to clear salary space for Matthew Boyd. That's a lateral move at best and a net negative for me, most likely. That makes no sense to me. So that's why, too, it's like, I think of who they could trade, but I'm only viewing it through the view of got to cut salary. And I hate it. Thanks. I hate it.
Yeah, Falvey's really going to have to do some tap dancing, and he lost his tap dancing partner, so he's dancing on his own.
I'm thinking of there's that old video where it's the guys doing like splits and jumping over each other on the steps and tap
Ritz
dancing.
Brothers
might be, I don't know. It's super super old.
Yeah, black and white film. Old. Yep.
Yeah. I'm thinking of
30s.
That Falvey and Levine doing that while they're working in the office every day, or were working, as it were.
Who's your last guy?
Willie Castro.
Oh, yeah. He was my sixth guy. He's my sixth man. So we're going to have, like A-Rod, we're going to start a basketball team.
Well, he'd be the sixth. He'd be the Nas Reed of MLB. And Nas Reed. I saw a kid wearing a Nas Reed jersey backwards the other day at Culver's, and I wanted to say Nas Reed to him, just like deadpan the way they do it around here. But I didn't think he would get the bit, so I abstained. Anyway,
you don't think he get Nas Reed if you said Nas Reed to him?
Do you know the story of Nas Reed?
I forgot.
But no, like if it's there's a teammate, I think it's Jaden McDaniels, that every time he sees him, he just says his whole name, Nas Reed. And so like that's just the thing, is it's like Nas Reed, period. It's like a full sentence.
His name is so short that you kind of have to. I run into that with Dave Brown.
Yeah.
Dave Brown is actually one of my nicknames because people call me that.
I've seen your
reason.
sign. Yeah. I've seen you sign your name, and Dave Brown is not your Christian name.
Well, it's all the same religion.
Yeah.
It's just it's my middle name, but I've
By
always
the way,
was always going to go by Dave Brown.
I posited this as a theory. We're off the rails, and I don't even care. Kurt Angle used to come out to like a is like a American theme, and then when it would go bum bum, they'd say "You suck." They chant it, and it got to be like this crazy WWE cultural thing, kind of like when Stone Cold would say "What" when people would stop talking. I think if you changed that, you played that at Target Center and did Nas Reed instead of "You suck," I think that would blow up. So I want to see that happen. Anyway,
all right. Welcome back to Lockdown Wolves.
The Twin. Well, Ben Beacon does too good of a job there. We couldn't do what he does. Anyway, Twins version of Nas Reed is Willie Castro, and it's not that I don't like him as a player, but I did see some troubling things that make me think, this is not the kind of guy I would want to invest in long term. This is not the kind of guy I think they would invest in long term, and I also just think they are so value oriented that his salary versus what they think they could get for him versus what they think he'll be worth in a year. I think this spot is ripe for, find a team who's going to value him as a jack of all trades. If it was 2 years earlier and he had club control, like it'd be the Rays, or if the Dodgers would probably just create their own of Willie Castro out of thin air. But find teams who value that level of versatility and then see what you could get back. Nobody's really coming to mind, but again, it's not my decision. It's not my problem. If you could sell the Mariners on him playing second base, maybe.
Yeah, you could sell. The thing about Willie is, if you needed to sell somebody on, do you need a second baseman? Well, I got one. It's Willie Castro. Need a third baseman? I got one. It's Willie Castro. You need a shortstop or center fielder? Yeah, I got one. It's Willie Castro. Yeah.
That would be an annoying phone call.
It would be. But you could sell him 2 or 3 different places. Here's the thing about Willie Castro.
That sounds illegal.
The person that you're going to have to sell in addition to the other team is Rocco. Because Willie Castro makes Rocco's life easier in his own mind because of all the different things he can do and all the different places he can put him and the versatility and all that other stuff. I know he had, he got burnt out a little bit last year, a little overexposed. At least that's what I'm thinking happened. A little too much Willie Castro, just like a little too much LDS.
Yep.
In Star Trek. But still, he makes a lot of things work. For you want to talk about getting the most out of what you have and getting one player to do 2 or 3 things and cheap pollads. That's going to resonate with Rocco, and that's how maybe it doesn't happen. It does make sense from some of the things that you mentioned, though, so we should talk about it.
Well, a better team exposes him less because he plays less. If simply, and again, this is simply with tongue in cheek or kind of like quote unquote, if you get healthy seasons from Jose Miranda, Royce Lewis, Edouard Julien, Brooks Lee, I mean, it goes down the list. The less that you have to use Willie Castro, if he's one of those less is more guys, sort of like they'd have Mike Redmond play against lefties, helps you not have Joe Mauer face lefties, helps because Mike Redmond's good against lefties. If you can do that kind of plug and play, it gives you the best version of Willie Castro, and that's certainly something you want. With that said, I believe this is his last year of arbitration eligibility. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it is. And so I don't know if even if they like him well enough to say, hey, Rocco wants to have him as his Swiss Army knife in 2025, the short and long-term picture don't really match up. And that's where I think, there could be some overruling and say, listen, Rocco, get ready to learn to love, I don't know, whoever else is going to be the next jack of all trades prospect. Probably was going to be Noah Miller until they traded him. We'll see. But I just think the confluence of he's about to get expensive. They've got a lot of infielders, and they may be able to sell him as a cheaper alternative than signing Ha-Seong Kim. Not that they play the same position, but free agents are not coming to your team for $6 million for 1 year if they are a truly useful player like Willie Castro. Again,
or having leverage.
Therein lies the rub of why you're trading him in the first place.
Yeah.
But we've crossed that bridge, or we're on that bridge. We have to cross it one way or the other. So I don't want to trade any of these guys, but I also think that the budget stuff is going to mandate that they trade someone where you're not wanting to see out the door.
No, you're right. It's the same kind of thing as Duran. It's a little bit risky because one of the strengths of the team is depth and versatility, and Castro's a big reason for that. But at the same time, the Polad's budgetary restrictions sort of throw that all up into the air.
Well, that's all I have for my 5. We got another show coming up here soon. I'm not sure if it'll be later tonight or early tomorrow, depending on when we can get it scheduled. But Dave will be back running the show. We'll be talking more about that Phil Miller article of Twins players from this year and how they look moving forward for the Twins. One of them that we'll talk about later is already retired. So cross him off then kind of gives me that vibe from Major League. But anyway, that's it. That's a wrap for this edition. He's Dave Brown. I'm probably pointing the wrong way. I'm Brandon Warren saying so long, and we'll see ya tomorrow. Night.
Casilla.
Lexi Casilla.
Lexi.
Go to Blue Sky. Check out Brandon Warren and Dave Brown.